going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today I have put together the ultimate electric skateboard acceleration test. This is basically going to be a drag race between a majority of the boards that I have recently reviewed here on the channel and anything that I have left over that I haven't given to friends or sold or whatever. This is sort of going to be like a tournament style. I'm trying to place boards that are sort of competitive next to each other as we start the first couple of rounds, and then as I see fit, if anything needs to be adjusted, we'll kind of do that as we go. I do have my friend here with me, who some of you may remember is my buddy Dave, and he is probably one of my only friends who can actually ride an electric skateboard without killing himself. Might have spoken too soon, but
we'll see.
We'll see. We have 10 boards out here right now, and I have them paired up sort of competitively to start, and I'll kind of give a rundown of what I think about each board before we start going. I'll let Dave give his thoughts on the boards. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, what about this board, or what about that board? You didn't have this. The reason I'm doing it with these is because
that's what you have.
We have 10 skateboards. This is what I have. I know there are some other popular ones out there that I have not reviewed, and maybe we will add those to the lineup in the future, but for now, we're working with what we got. We got like a makeshift quarter mile here. We're in a pretty much closed parking lot. It's not a quarter mile, but we got a little bit of a runway here, and basically this is going to be testing the acceleration of riding a board like this, say from a stop sign or a red light. We're just gonna be putting them head to head, and we're going about, what, 300 feet, 350 feet until we actually start slowing down. We're gonna have camera angles all over the place, one set up from the start, one set up from the end, and one of us will be holding a camera the entire time. So while Dave is down there clearing out the runway, I will explain the two boards for the first round. First up, I gotta go with the original Gen 1 boosted board Dual Plus. The reason why this one is in the first round is because it has a ton of miles on it. It's definitely not going to be as powerful as it once was. I haven't checked the odometer yet today, but last time I checked, it was getting very close to 1,000 miles. As you can see, it's all scratched up. The belts have seen their better days, as well as the wheels. So I'm not exactly sure how this thing is going to perform off the line, but we're putting it up against what I believe is going to be one of the weaker boards out of the bunch. So on this side, Dave is going to be riding the Jack Zoom. Have you ridden this one before? I really don't remember a whole lot about it, but it is a dual hub motor board, relatively inexpensive, and I probably only rode it for the review or one time after that, so should still be pretty fresh, but it was sitting for a little while, and everything has a full charge and should be good to go. We're gonna be riding these boards in their most powerful mode, so depending on which board you're riding, some are obviously going to have turbo modes and things like that. We're gonna do like one little warm up here to kind of make sure the boards are set and ready to go, and then we'll start the race. We also weighed ourselves this morning, and we weigh pretty much exactly the same, so that shouldn't be a factor throughout all of this. We're both relatively experienced on skateboards, so I think this is gonna be a pretty fair match throughout the entire day. All right, the boards are set to go, both in their highest respective modes. We got a camera set up way down there at the end of the runway here, and this is gonna be round one, Jack Zoom versus boosted Dual Plus. No pushing, all acceleration from the boards. Ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
And the boosted Dual Plus takes it for that one.
I thought it was pretty close.
It was pretty close.
It wasn't close.
I mean, it was for what it was. This was an old board, and granted, cost way more than this thing did at the time that it was new.
Did this always sound like it was gonna fall apart though?
I think I said in the review that it's kind of weird how it wiggles a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
So here we're going up against a very cheap board, and this is, for the time, it used to be high end. The newer ones are, but this one has seen better days. The Jack Zoom will still go into the loser bracket to have a better chance, but the boosted for now will move on to the second round. All right, next up for the first round, we're going, ooh, that thing is loud. We're going with some short boards. Here I have the Meepo V2P up against the Metro Board Slim. This board's a lot heavier. This is almost like it reminds me of a DIY board. They're kind of put together. You can tell that someone worked on these by hand. This, everyone knows, and a lot of people love Meepo, so it should be a pretty fair test.
This was your favorite board for a while though.
This was one of my favorite boards for a while. So this is a single belt driven motor, whereas this is dual hub motors. The problem with this board is that it is very powerful and it does wheelies. That one won't wheelie at all because there's no kicktail or no nose on it. So I think it's gonna be kind of hard putting the power down with this, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try not to flip. 3, 2, 1, go. This is not, oh my God. Woo. We had a little bit of issues with that one. Dave got some wheel slip, which you will see with that, because if you're off balance at all, since only one wheel is spinning, it's gonna spin like you saw. This thing was wheeling from the start like I had said it was going to do, and then speed wobbles, dude. When you get this thing to its top speed, make sure you're
centered on it.
Centered and knees bent, good to go. So we're gonna run these again. We're gonna swap boards this time, and we're gonna do that one more time. Dude, that thing's like a little rocket.
3, 2, 1, go.
That wheel slip. Where those? I can't do it. All right, same thing that time. I had wheel spin off the start. He had speed wobbles towards the end there. We're gonna have to do this one more time. We'll switch boards, and I'm just gonna have to suck up those speed wobbles.
Dude, you're gonna beef. One of us is gonna beef.
All right, I've tightened the little Meepo trucks as much as I possibly could right now. And we're gonna do one more run. This is it. Whoever wins this one is the winner.
Dude, we should have just like worn knee pads and elbow pads.
I know, this is a little dangerous.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. I think the Meepo would have it if it was tight. Yeah. Like if it could be tight, but like.
This is a way closer battle than I thought it was gonna be, and for now we're gonna move the Meepo on to the next round. The Metro board is right there with it, but if this thing was more stable, it would probably win every single time.
The other big challenge with the Metro is the fact that the wheel slips every time you accelerate.
Yeah, you really have to
only
keep
one wheel
pressure
is
down.
only one wheel is powering that board, so.
All right, let's go on to the next. Next up in the first round, we have one that is a little controversial in my eyes, the Evolve Bamboo Gtx. If you guys watched my update videos on this board, you'll know that I was running into remote issues. I think everything is fixed now, and Dave is gonna be riding the Backfire G2T. This is the newer Backfire that had come out a couple months ago. I did a review on it with these larger wheels. This is dual hub motor, this is dual belt. I think the Evolve is going to come out on top on this one, but these are sort of similar, so we'll see how it goes.
3, 2, 1, go. Looks like the Evolve crushed there. It seems like a lot of these boards that we're using are not built to go top speed all the time, because speed wobble is definitely a factor in every one of these races.
Whew. As I thought, this thing smoked that. Not really a fair competition there. These boards are drastically different in price, and this for the longest time was kind of like top dog. There are some faster boards out there, but at least the Backfire will move on to the loser bracket and have a chance up against some of the previous losers. I never really test top speed from like a freshly charged battery.
Yeah.
So they're pretty gnarly.
Yeah. I don't like it. I kind of just like cruising.
That's not what this video is about.
Nope.
Next up, we have a round that should be pretty competitive as well. The only really difference on the factor here is going to be the wheel size. I'm going to be riding the Backfire G2S. This is the older version of the one that Dave was just on. And Dave's got the newest Wowgo 3. I like this board. It's got good wheels, it's got a good flexi deck, and should be pretty quick as well.
Dude, the controllers have definitely come a long way since they started making them.
Yeah, the controllers get better and better every time. Here we go again, Backfire G2S versus Wowgo 3.
3, 2, 1, go.
right, as I expected, the Wowgo 3 definitely won that one because of that turbo mode and the bigger wheels. This Backfire, older one, still a good board. It's running strong and the acceleration curve feels really good. What do you think about that Wowgo 3?
Actually, this is my favorite one that we've ridden so far, but just because it's safe.
The wheels are nice on that. It flexes really good. That is pretty close to a boosted board.
This is really comfy, actually.
Now we're moving on to the scary boards.
Great.
All right, now we're moving on to my two most recently tested boards, and these are ones that I'm sort of still testing out. Dave is riding the Meepo Nls Pro. If you like the Wowgo, you're gonna like this because the deck shape is similar.
Whoa, dude. There's
Flex
like a
is
layer
similar.
of foam here.
Yeah, Dave just noticed the foam grip tape. That stuff's actually really nice. The board is comfortable. It's got power up and down hills. That's definitely one that I still recommend. And then there's the Raptor, the Inertia Raptor 2.1. This thing is insane, and I do have to do a follow-up video on this. The original controller that I got had an issue where the bottom piece popped out, and I've never had that happen on a controller before. I reached out to Inertia and they did replace it right away. I think the Raptor is definitely gonna win this one, but you gotta ride this after the fact to just bask in the glory of it.
Is that definitely the top level? Hold that up to the camera. Dude, look at how wide those are.
Yeah.
What? It's like drag racing electric skateboard.
Be safe with this one, that's all I'm gonna say.
3, 2, 1, go.
Not even.
Wow! Oh my goodness.
All right, as I thought, I rode the Meepo back, but the Raptor just, what do you think about it?
Well, and the trucks are super stiff. It's like somebody was like, man, Dave and Talon are gonna race these one day and we need this to be like a drag board.
I tightened the shit out of those,
Dude.
like during the review because
It just keeps accelerating.
Try to take a top speed run past this camera right now. But again, be safe because it's so fast, the camera. Yeah, so I really don't have anything that is quite as powerful as that Raptor 2.1. This Meepo is very powerful in its own kind of class, that like mid-tier board. I would definitely put this up against some of the newer boosteds, even though I haven't actually rode and tested those myself. This one is moving into the loser bracket, but if I had to guess right now, I would say that this thing is going to smoke everything else that is in that loser bracket.
Wow, dude. And it's not like it accelerates, like you can prepare for the acceleration, so it's not gonna come out from under you as long as you're prepared, but it just keeps going.
And it's adjustable too, so if you wanted to like have a super sharp acceleration curve, you can set it up that way. Now we're moving into the losers bracket. The Meepo Nls Pro that Dave was just riding is going to get a bye for this round because, like I said, it's probably going to beat everything else. Time to film here, thank you. So the Meepo gets a bye, and right now we're doing Jack Zoom versus the older Backfire G2S.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, as expected, the Backfire is moving on to the next round in the losers bracket just because it's straight up a better board.
What do we do with the loser? Bonfire tonight?
Next up, we're going back to the Metro Board Slim. Dave's gonna be riding the Backfire G2T. This one should be pretty interesting because that has big wheels, it's a longer board. I should be able to get some decent performance out of this because I'm comfortable with riding it. So I think me riding this and you riding that will be the best comparison.
Mine doesn't make cool noises when you turn it on.
So loud. This one even has a horn.
That like adds 5 horsepower.
5 horsepower.
5 horsepower. 3, 2, 1, go.
Because that one was so close, we're gonna run one more time. I had a little bit of wheel spin off the start and Dave is in turbo mode, so we're gonna wait until that can go back into turbo mode and try again.
I'm blown away! I'm blown away, yeah!
So there you guys see, the Backfire takes it, and that turbo mode is a little more effective than I had originally thought when just doing some random testing and reviews. That's why we're making videos like this.
Oh, my head's cut off.
So the Backfire is moving on to the next round up against the Meepo. So hopefully that turbo mode is still gonna be working, and we're moving on. Moving on to the winners of the losers. I'm gonna be riding the Meepo Nls Pro, Dave on the Backfire G2T. One, go. As suspected, the Meepo Nls Pro is going on. I think we're gonna give this one a second chance back in the winner's bracket because this thing is just super powerful. So I think we got some good tests on the lower top speed acceleration boards. Now we're moving on to the fast ones.
Great.
Great. Now going into the second round of the winner's bracket, it's gonna be a little bit confusing because these boards are so different, specifically a board like this, a very fast but very short board, the Meepo. We're gonna put it up against the Boosted first. We also have the Wowgo 3 in the mix, so these three are gonna be kind of competitive to see who is actually gonna come out on top. This thing is just scary to ride. 3, 2, 1, That one was pretty interesting. The Boosted started off strong because of those belt-driven motors, and then the Meepo, this thing caught up pretty quick in the end there. These wheels are a little bit bigger, the board itself is newer. You wanna run that one more time, just for the hell of it? 2, 1, go. Dude, that's probably the best competition we've had yet.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that one was definitely the best one yet. It's pretty interesting to see that. The Boosted is old and it's primed. It may have beat this, but this little thing has a lot of power to it. So these two boards next to each other look very, very similar. The Wowgo obviously a lot newer. Going with the orange wheels, kind of taking a shot at Boosted there. Not sure how I feel about that, but Boosted again is kind of on its last leg. I think the Wowgo might have this one, but we're gonna find out and see. You ready? Yep. In 3, 2, 1, go. I don't know if you guys could hear that right from the start, but as soon as we took off the line, I was like, Wowgo's got it. I felt the power and it was there. Boosted, sorry, but it's just an old board. It's got a lot of miles on it. All right, we're getting down to the wire now. We're going with the Wowgo 3 against the Meepo Nls Pro. If I had to put my money on it, I would say this one is gonna win, but I think it might be pretty close too. That one just has a nice rideability. This one's nice to ride too, but we'll see.
Meepo made its way out of the loser's bracket back into the winner's bracket.
As it should, this thing is quick.
Yeah. 2, 1, go.
Oh man, no way!
These two were pretty close, but I know this Meepo has a higher top speed than the Wowgo, so we're gonna switch on the way back and give it one more shot. So that one ended up being pretty close, but the Meepo with that top speed definitely beats out the Wowgo in the end. We're gonna have to put the Meepo up against the Evolve. All right, we got the Evolve Bamboo Gtx up against the Meepo Nls Pro. I think the belt-driven board is gonna have the advantage here. In 3, 2, 1, go. Even on that little bit of a run back there, I broke that clip on the camera down there and Dave was coming up on me pretty quick. This thing just accelerates so quickly to a pretty high top speed, so Bamboo Gtx moves on. All right, now we're moving on to the final round. The winner of the winners, we got the Inertia Raptor 2.1 versus the Evolve Bamboo Gtx. I know who I have my money on, but we'll see how it goes. 3, 2, 1. right, so there you guys have it. As I kind of expected, the Inertia Raptor 2.1 wins all of this, but there were a lot of good competitions there. Honorable mention to the Bamboo Gtx. Out of all of these, what do you think your favorite is for rideability?
Well, dude, I factor in price all the time, so I would want to hear the prices of everything and like look at them in a line. You have that Excel sheet.
If you watch my videos, oh yeah. You can check out the Excel sheet right here. This is a comprehensive list of all of these boards and all of the test factors that I put them through and kind of how they performed.
So I'm assuming the Raptor's super expensive, plus you need to keep the truck super tight so it doesn't even feel like a skateboard when you're riding it. It just feels like an acceleration machine.
This board is built for doing stuff like this right here.
This is pretty sweet because it is super fast. It's still got that flex and ebb and flow that you want out of a skateboard.
This one's a little bit more expensive than the Raptor, but this is more of a skateboard to me. I could definitely ride that around town and be a little bit more comfortable on it. All right, so here we have laid out a pretty rough guess or rough test of everything that we did here today. Starting up here with the loser bracket, we have Jack Zoom coming in last. It's a cheap board. If you're looking for a budget board to just get around, it's okay. However, I would suggest spending a little bit more money, bumping up to something a bit nicer, like this Backfire. I actually really like this board. I think it's built well. Backfire seems to have a good reputation. Good controller, but compared to the rest in the loser bracket, this one just did not come out on top. Metro board, I love this thing. Single belt driven is a little bit weird because you get that wheel spin, but if you had a board like this with dual belt driven motors, I think that would be really cool. Moving up to here, the turbo mode is what allowed the G2T to come out on top against everything else. The bigger wheels is also a nice option. A lot of these other boards come with bigger wheels as well, like the older Backfire down here. I decided to put them on this one and it seems like it helped with the top speed, and that turbo mode really is a nice touch. And then moving on to the boosted, I love this board. This is the one that I've ridden the most out of everything here. Like I said, I have close to 1,000 miles on here. It's beat up, it could use new wheels and new belts and everything, but it's still fairly strong reliability wise. This is one that I'm always gonna recommend to people. Boosted, they have a really good product. Now moving on to the winners bracket. This one is a little demon, man. It's super quick, a little bit too powerful for what it is. The Meepo V2P does some wheelies, but if you want something with a ton of power with a lot of portability, it's got the grab handle, and this would be a good one for someone looking for something like that.
I'm gonna tell people to not buy that one.
You're gonna tell people to not buy it?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally wouldn't buy it. It's a little scary, so you're right, I would shy away from it, but I mean, if you really want to have something crazy, like that's in that class. Moving up to the WowGo, this thing is great, good flex, decent price. It's kind of bordering on that mid tier into the upper tier. I really like the wheels, super smooth, good trucks and bushings. That's definitely one that I can recommend. A little bit better than that, the Meepo Nls Pro is gonna be a little bit faster, higher top speed. It's got more options and has 2 controllers with it, a bunch of good accessories. The wheels aren't quite as comfortable as these. You can definitely tell just by kind of feeling them. So the rideability, I think this one might feel a little bit better, smoother if you're cruising around, but this is an honorable mention as well. And then you're moving into the Evolve Bamboo Gtx. I ran into a bunch of issues with the controller on this, but in the end, now that I have it working, it was definitely a headache to get it to run right, but this thing is super cool. It's really low to the ground. It feels fast. The acceleration curve is really sharp because of these really powerful motors and the belt-driven wheels back here. And then of course, the Inertia Raptor 2.1. This thing is kind of in a league of its own right now. Massive dual hub motors. These wheels, oh man, that's not good. So I definitely have to revisit this one. A lot of people were talking about how the wheels get chewed up, and right there is a big chunk out of one of them. I'm definitely gonna have a follow-up video on this one sooner than later because I have a lot of things to talk about, like that controller. They are moving wheel production to California now, so hopefully this won't happen. These are replaceable on the rear hub motors, but that one definitely warrants another follow-up after this. All right, if you guys have questions on anything that you saw here, it's gonna be hard to answer because we covered so much information on a bunch of different boards, but like I said, check out that Excel sheet. I will leave a link for it in the description down below. I'll also leave a link to the playlist where I ride all these boards and test them out. That's all that we got for today, so if you're new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. That's gonna be all. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next one.